guys, welcome back to the Yarnquisitions Knitting Podcast. I'm Victoria, you can call me Vic, Celine, or whatever you want. As you can see, I look a little different, got my hair up, I cut my bangs last week, if you could tell from last week's podcast, if you looked. And I'm wearing a kimono, but I don't know which kind of kimono this is. And I say kimono because that's like the generic English term for a traditional Japanese clothing. So yeah, that's why I'm using that. And because I don't know what type of thing this is, because it's not a yukata because it's lined, and it's not a furisode because it's not long enough to be one, because this is like the yukata sleeve length, just about, so I have no clue what this is, because I can't remember like all the different types. There's so many out there. And ignore my tie job because I can never get it right, no matter how hard I try. So there's that. And I've also never asked or paid somebody to help me dress into yukata, kimono, or whatever, like ever. So that's why I don't know how to do it. And it's crinkly because I don't have anything to back this with. Because usually there's like this like piece of cardboard or something that you put here to keep it flat and straight. Because there's like a bunch of ties and like other things in this to keep this from like unraveling itself. I guess that's how you can say it. And then let me show you the bottom. I don't know if I can get it up. Yeah, so it has like some embroidery and stuff. And this is like a vintage one that I got in Japantown several years ago. Japantown in San Francisco. Because during Cherry Blossom Festival, they sell like a bunch of vintage yukata, kimono stuff. But actually, this was supposed to be display only. It wasn't recommended to wear because there's a bunch of like little tiny stains on it. But you only notice it if you look closely because the stains are very close to the color of this kimono, so yeah. And I never know what kind of obi to use because this is just like a red and yellow one. The other side is red, this side is yellow, and I tied it using the yukata bow tie. So maybe that's not appropriate for this kind of more formal kind of kimono. And I tied it so bad that it's like unraveling, or not unraveling, what do you call it? Like, it's not staying in place where I want it to stay in place. So it's kind of annoying. And it's super puffy here because I can't lay flat. It's just so much freaking fabric. So I'm like thinking maybe it's not made for like my size, because I'm kind of a tiny / skinny person. But I think it's made for like around my height because it's supposed to lay right here. Like this is the correct length for this part, but I don't know. Maybe I just don't know enough about how to put one on, and it's just so complicated, honestly. Like, I swear at least once a year I try to put it on, and then I put it away because I'm so discouraged. Yeah, so, but yeah, you can see it is lined. And I actually don't know what it's made out of. It kind of feels like polyester, but I wouldn't know. The lining definitely feels like polyester. The outside feels like a viscose polyester. I don't know. And it does have like a family emblem / insignia / I forgot what it's called. There's like, it's not a logo. You know, like every Japanese family usually has one. And yeah. So whatever that is called, like of course I forget to research it right before the fucking podcast. So sorry about that. And I forgot to mention, I'm drinking Earl Grey milk tea. And I just made it. So it's nice and hot. Even though today is like a little cool, but still 70, so it can get hot in the sun, like by 10 degrees. Yeah. And I got this obi at some kind of convention. I got it at Anime X, so it's the anime convention or expo at Anime Expo. It's the anime convention in LA, and I think I got this in LA because they're also selling like, I mean, there's like a vendor that sold Japanese prints, which I follow on YouTube. I forgot the channel name, but they make prints out of wood blocks, which is the traditional Japanese wood block. Ukiyo-e is the term. Let's see, and they make new prints, like brand new prints by artists somewhere in the world, and they also try to like remake old wood blocks because they can. And they're asked to by like either museums or like other like people who have the original wood blocks, and then they recreate them as close as possible. And they also have like the original prints as well, so then they can like try their best to like color match as well, but then time, and then, you know, all that stuff. It's like faded, so they have to like think about like what the original colors were. Yeah. So that's like a whole rabbit hole. I like go through so many. So the kimono is one, ukiyo-e is one. And I did printmaking in college, so that's why I'm like super into it, or was, I should say. And yeah. And I did embroidery like once, and that's why I know I don't like it. In the intro to textiles class I took in college or university. And speaking of that, and by the way, this episode might be really long because there's so many tangents I can go on. Just saying, right now. So in my intro textiles class, we did embroidery, knot sewing, we did dyeing, we did a a little bit of crochet, a little bit of tapestry weaving. What else did we do? We didn't do knitting because I think that would take too much time. What else is there? I can't remember any of the other ones. What else we did in that class, but we did a lot. And so because dyeing is one of them, this was like one of the first projects we did. So this is a silk scarf, and then we basically had free range of what we can do. So there's several different types of resist dyeing. Is it resist? Something very similar. And like we were introduced to shibori and bleaching as well. Although bleaching is not my favorite because it smells like pretty bad. Because of the compound we use, I don't remember. It wasn't bleach. Like it was like this weird mixture. I don't remember what it was. This was so long ago. And we use clamps and like different methods of resist dyeing. And but yeah, let me show you the pieces first. So this is one. It's blue. It's a little splotchy. And there's like little bands in it as well, because we had to, dye it multiple times. So there's several bands. I think that was the first time that I did the dyeing. And I think I folded it along those bands like this or something. Like from one end to the other, and then I used like a piece of plexiglass or something that can go into hot boiling water, and then then I clamped it, and then so like both sides are exposed to the dye, and that will take the dye. So then that's how these bars came about. And then honestly, I think I dipped it in like this into like really dark blue. And maybe I bleached it as well. I don't remember. Cause I can't remember how the splotchy stuff came on. I think I did something with this where I like clamped it or something, and then dumped the whole thing in the blue dye or something. I can't remember. But yeah, it's just so long ago. It might have been 2014. Yeah. So, and it was supposed to be like modeled after water. So when you like display like this, it's like deep water and then shallow water, that kind of look, I guess. At least that was what I was thinking, just water in general, whether it be ocean, rivers, or whatever. Yeah. And then when you display it like this, I don't know, to me it looks better. And I just kept this one, and we donated the rest because we made like 7 or something, or 6. It's on my Instagram. It's like one of the first posts ever on my Instagram. And yeah, so this is one of the ones I liked, so I kept it. We can only keep 2, so that's why. And then this is the second one, which, I did the shibori technique, but I think I like divided it or something. And then like scrunched it up. That's why the lines are wavy. And then tied like string on it. Like, oops, that's too thin. Like this basically. Or no, I think it's, oh my gosh. Like I tie it once, and then you go to the next one, kind of like a sewing technique, or like where you sew the end of like a blanket or something, like the edges of a blanket, like that technique, like this. And then you just tighten it. Yeah, and that's what I did for this, and just did it the whole way. Like, that was so time consuming. I don't even know how and why I endured that. Like, it was so crazy. I mean, that class was crazy in general. Very chaotic. So that's why there's these lines in it. I think it looks like maybe I put it in like blue or something. I don't remember. And then like I basically like dip dyed it like this. So I think I dip dyed it in like yellow and then like red or something. Cause you could just have like a bar on top of the pot and then just do it like that. But it was like a super dark red, right? And then I just like dunked it a little bit, and then at first, and then only left the ends in. And I might have bleached this one as well. Like I can't remember how I got this super light color. I must have just dunked it like this and bleached for a little bit, and like, yeah, I just left it in there for a bit. Yeah. Unless it's like that was the raw color. But yeah. I think I worked on this the most just because it just has so many different things in it. But yeah, you definitely don't see the lines in the middle because it was probably bleached, honestly. But yeah, something must have went wrong on the first time I tried to dye it. That's why there's like these weird like splotches of like what appears to be green or something. I must have failed it somehow. But I must have kept it on for a long time, for like basically the whole project, until at the end I like freaking bleached it on this part. But yeah, I'm really proud of this one because this was modeled after the sunset. Kind of obvious, I think. Yeah, so the yellow is like the sun rays, right? And then this is the sunset. Yeah. Super simple concept. Love that. Yeah. Even after all this time, all these years later, I still like really like it. But these silk scarves are like not that useful for me. But I can put this right here, like that. Let me just tie real quick. And this is not like officially how you do it. You could do some other tying technique or whatever you see fit. I'm just shoving it in. So yeah, I know you could do this with other like fancier type of ties, but I'm too lazy to learn it, so there we go. Maybe you're not actually supposed to do this without like the that strand right here, but you can't hide that strand in the middle if I have it like this kind of back, because it should hide it, but it can't. So but yeah, so I'll just have this for the rest of the episode. Kind of matches a little bit, but very subtle. Let's see. But yeah. And you know how I said I'll find like an old project if I look hard enough? Like, definitely, I totally forgot about these silk scarves. Yeah. It just turns up out of nowhere. So maybe this is the last for now until I remember there's like another one or something. So stay tuned on that. Let's see, old thing, what I'm wearing. I guess we'll just do the whips. So if you follow me on Instagram, you'll know that I've been working on this like crazy. I'm like almost finished. Well, I finished, well, it's technically not finished, the sleeve. Still on Sleeve Island, but I stopped right before the decreases on the sleeve because I want to start the other sleeve so that I'm like not stuck, or like, because I had the bad feeling like if I finish and complete the sleeve, I'll never start the other one. And because I had that bad feeling, I just started the other one before I did the decreases and the, what do you call it? The twisted rib. So yeah, I stopped right before the twisted rib, so I'm gonna finish this, or I guess until I reach the length before the twisted rib, because I feel like I'd run out before then and I had to attach another ball. And this is my third ball of mohair. So on track to only use 5, and if we can use 5, I could definitely start on another one. Yeah. And I almost finished this olive top. So I did one more repeat than the pattern says because I just don't want it to be like 24 centimeters from the, what's that? From the sleeve? From the underarm to the edge. And now I did the hem, but now I'm stuck because I don't know where to attach the hem to the body. And in the pattern it says to bind off first and then sew it on, but I want to knit it on instead so it's not tight. But I don't even know, but the back is like so unreadable to me, I just can't even start to think where to pick up the stitches. Or yeah, so it's been on hold since like Monday or something, or Sunday, So yeah, oops. This is the front. Or maybe this is the back. But yeah. I just can't finish it. Because I'm so intimidated by a knitted hem. And I guess I keep sweating whenever I work on this stuff. So my gold, oh no, it disappeared. My gold stitch marker is now like bronze. So I guess if you sweat too much, then it'll just oxidize or something. And have this little bit left of my second ball of I was about to say mohair, but it's not mohair, it's silk. So probably need a second ball or a third ball. I mean, which I have because the pattern says it needs 3, so that's pretty accurate. And I barely worked on my test knit because I don't know, I just don't really enjoy working with this yarn. And I'm like, is it a mistake to make in this yarn? Is it a mistake? But yeah, I don't know, I just can't work on this for too long, because then maybe I just pull too hard or something. And I'm also concerned that it may stretch too much if I wear it, because it kind of stretches quite a bit sideways. And I'm like, why does it do that? It's linen and cotton. Those are very two like non-elastic fibers. And they're both plant fibers as well, so I'm like, why? And then I saw that a shop says that chained plant fibers are more stretchy, and I'm like, they're not that stretchy when it's like this, but then when you knit it up, they're kind of stretchy. So that's a little weird. So yeah. Still on the first 2 balls because I like barely worked on it. Basically, because I'm holding it double as well. And you know how I said last week that the Camarosa Louis Vuitton, they're 100% linen chained yarn. That's the DK weight. That's where I got the information about plant fibers being more elastic in a corded, in a chain, a cord thing. I also got the price wrong. I switched it with the Minatsur price. So the Minatsur is $7.50 on Shop La Mercerie's website, and then Louis Vuitton is $9.50. And because it's $9.50 per ball, it actually works up to be the exact same price as what's it called? Knit Picks. My memory. Knit Picks. Lindy Chain. So they're like the same price because, or at least for this project, or if I double up Ninja chain, and that becomes a DK weight, and then this already DK weight, so it becomes $28 for 3 balls of Louis Vuitton and $28 of 4 balls for Ninja chain. So it's the exact same price. I know I said it was cheaper, but I switched the prices. So yeah. But I actually might get the midnight sole when it gets cooler again. I don't know. But I want the Louis Vuitton. Choices. But I need to finish these projects first before I even think about getting those, because yarn is kind of overwhelming now. A little overwhelming. And I have a new whip, and before I show you it, I'm just gonna say I went down this rabbit hole 2 weeks ago and I can't get out of it, so I started this week because I'm a crazy person, and I'll just show you it right now. So this is my little sample of a Persian rug. A little sample. So I used the Turkish knot for this because I couldn't make sense of the Persian knot, which the Turkish knot is symmetrical, so it's like way easier to work. And the Persian knot, to me, is a little harder because it's asymmetrical. But I kind of understand it now after like looking it up. And apparently the Persian knot could be left-sided or right-sided. It just depends on how you want to work it. Oops. About to fall out. And I used a bone folder. Oops. I used a bone folder and like a few pieces of paper, folded paper, that I used from the Knitting for Olive Cherry Blossom Soft Silk Mohair band. So I just cut it up and then stuck it on here like a proper weaver. Yeah, I just saw that people did this to like even the tension. So yeah, I'll just do that the proper way. Also, I didn't learn weaving, even though I could have in university, because it was on these large ass looms, okay? They're fucking huge, and you need a crap ton of yarn, and I didn't want to spend all my money on yarn, so that's why I didn't do the weaving classes in university. I think there's like 4 different weaving classes that you could take. It's just like weaving 1 to 4 or something. Yeah, and they use floor looms, so you'd have to like spend like all day in the studio, which I did for printmaking anyways. Yeah. So yeah, and there's like so much math in weaving, I just couldn't get my head around it, honestly. I just wanted to do simple things, like a woven pattern like this or something, but it was more like weaving as art, so you just like basically make a painting out of weaving, so that's a lot more complicated on a floor loom. So for me, that was just like, it was too much. So this is like tapestry weaving, which, oh, that's also what we did in intro to textiles. So tapestry weaving, easy peasy, except I never did it. No. Well, that sample I threw away, okay, because I didn't like it. But it's on my Instagram. It's one of the early pictures as well, like the first few from that class. So you could see that. And then I just was not into how it looked at all. So that's why I didn't do tapestry weaving until now, because this is the tapestry weaving I like, because this is fluffy, this is soft and squishy. Yeah. And I used the bone folder to like guide me on how tall I wanted it to be, because this is 2 centimeters tall, as you can see. Maybe not. It is 2 centimeters tall, nice and fluffy. From the side, it's like, I don't know, can you see that from the side? Probably not focusing, but whatever. And for the warp, I used linen, and for the pile, I used the mohair alpaca blend that feels like super rough, like this, but then when you cut the end, it's like super soft. So yeah. And this is a very sturdy kind of twisted yarn. So it's kind of perfect for this kind of weaving, actually, which was kind of unexpected. So now I'm working on another sample. I just have to, and also I'm using linen as this linen that I also got from Color Mart. They're both from Color Mart. This is 100% linen, undyed, so it's pretty white. So yeah, I'm using that for the warp, and I don't know, it looks nice. But the same day I set this up, I like instantly regretted it, because I know that this would have to stay on this cutting board. Is that what it's called? Well, I use it to cut things on with a razor, so I'll just call it a cutting board for now. Or mat board. No, that also sounds wrong. Mat board is something else. Whatever. Because, where was I? I instantly regretted putting this on or starting this project, because I know that it would have to stay on this for like at least a month, right? And it takes forever to do this. It took me like all week to do only this much. Like, what the hell? It just takes so long. And my fingers are like dying from it. And if you could see, don't know if it's gonna focus. No, it's not gonna focus. But my like finger right here, because I use so much pressure on pulling it, it's like a little damaged. A little damaged here. So, and on my index finger as well, because I use my right hand to pull it down. Yeah. Definitely a very hard project to do. And I only did like a few rows every day. So yeah. And I kind of experimented on how to do the weaving. So for like this part, I did 1 row regular and then offset the next row, and that made it really super dense, which is not needed because then it'll just flare out more. And then this part I did right on top of each other, but obviously from every row you would like put 1 or 2 linen strands so that you'll lock them in, right? So yeah, and then I put like 8 or 10 rows of linen just to end this sample. And at the beginning, I don't know if you can see, but I also did the same for the bottom. I just put a couple linen, or like 10 linen strands so that I can lock that part and then start it. But I also put one mohair row, but I don't think that was needed, honestly. But I mean, I could put a few of those in my next sample. And in my next sample, I'm just gonna do the edges, like proper edges, because I didn't for the first sample. It's just pile all the way to the edge, which in regular Persian rugs or carpets, you don't do that because it makes the edge pile like not neat, and it doesn't really lock those I was supposed to say stitches. It doesn't lock the edge pile at all. So then it might not look as neat in the finished product. As you can see, it like kind of flares out like this. So that's probably not what you want. But the most satisfying part is just like cutting the top so that it's all flush. And I don't know if you could see it, but I did make a huge mistake around halfway. I cut it way too short, so when I cut it, it's just so obvious that it's so much shorter and everything else is taller around it. So yeah, definitely you have to cut your strands so longer so that when you cut it, it's like even and it'll be fluffy, nice and fluffy. And a couple of other tools that I use because I don't have proper tools for this kind of weaving. I use scissors, my very sharp, trusty scissors. Yeah. And then I got a 9mm needle that I think I accidentally didn't return to the intro to textiles class because after that class, like a year later or something, I found this on my desk and I'm like, why do I have this? Because I'm pretty sure that's the only time I used a 9mm crochet hook because I'm not very fond of crocheting with bulky yarn. So yeah, I think that's what this is from. And then a 1mm crochet hook. Well, I don't think you can see it. And I use that to pick up the warp, or whoops, I don't think you can see it. I use it to pick up the warp and then also to pull the yarn through the warp because these are really close together, so I have trouble like singling it out, and this just makes it 10 times easier to do that. Although I'm not fast, just so you know, this takes a long time. Yeah, and that's why I kind of regret starting a sample. And it's, let's see, it's 35 pairs, so it's like 70 strands of warp, and I think that comes out to be 70 strands of warp, which is coincidental because I didn't count at all. And then what was it? I was originally gonna make this part 10 centimeters up as well, because it's 10 centimeters across. Then I was like, wait, that's crazy. Why would I do that? That's killing my hands. So I stopped that and then started a new sample. And then this new sample, I think I said earlier just now that I'll do everything proper. Hopefully. But yeah, I'm still kind of confused because on all the demonstrations of this that I've seen, they use 2 strands of like the, what do you call it? The locking, weft. Sorry, I just can't remember. Yeah. They use like 2 strands of locking weft. I don't know how they did the edges because it looks so bad when I do it. So yeah, or if what it's supposed to look like and things like that, because it looks so bad. So I should have 4 bobbins, 1 for this side, 1 for this side, and then 2 for the whole, for the locking weft. Because it's supposed to go on top of each other, and then you do another row of the pile, and then you do another 2 rows of locking weft. I mean, it's just weft, but this technically is also weft, so that's why I say locking weft, so that you know what I'm talking about. Just to this freaking kimono. Yeah, so that's my new project, and every time I sit at the desk, I'm like, I feel like compelled to work on this, or like hypnotized to work on this, because before I know it, I've done like 2 rows. So that's what's going on with this. Oof. So that's crazy, right? And I finally got my yarn in from Tiffany. Well, I bought it, so, you know. It's so hard to open though. And the drawstring bag is like 100% cotton, as far as I know. Don't know if it's organic or not. And I got taro milk tea. Although I kind of disagree with the name because it's kind of like brown, a little brown, a little pink, a little corally, and beige. And I think the coral looks more apparent on the other skeins. Or maybe it's not coral. It's like a beige and a pink, like a powder color, or puda. But yeah, you can see the pink more on this one, on this skein. Ooh, it's not focusing very well, but is it focusing here? Low-key matches my kimono. Like, I think it matches pretty well. Right? Doesn't that match? I mean, I'm always attracted to the same kind of colors, so I guess it makes sense that it would. I mean, to me, taro is like a white color or like a light beige color. It's not usually pink for me, or to me, so. But I like this color, so that's why I got it, even though I don't like drinking taro milk tea. But But yeah, it's like a dusty pink beige. And I'm not ready to work with this because I just got it, and yeah, I need to swatch it first and I'll think about what to make with this. Because right now, I don't want to make this in the Eula sweater. That's what this is. The Eula sweater, the olive top, and then the corselette tank. Okay, like I don't know what to make with mohair, and of course I just want to use it by itself, because if I use another strand, I'm afraid that it'll just wash out this kind of color. And I mean, it's pretty hard to color match anyways because it is variegated. So yeah, I don't really know. And yeah, you could see it's typical bliss. And then the sticker has the info of the yarn itself, and she handwrites the name. Probably because it's too much to specifically print out. Each one individually. Yeah, that becomes like an editing nightmare if you print out all of them with the name and the content. So yeah, right now I just put it in this because, I mean, it's all typical bliss stuff. And it's actually a larger drawstring bag than I thought. And it came in a small package, so that's always nice. So yeah, now I have drawstring bag for whatever I want to do with this. Good for traveling. And also, I finally got this that I bought from my friend that I went to college with. This is a ceramic tea steeper. I don't really know what to call it besides shiboridashi, but because I don't really know Japanese, I don't know what it means. Because shibori to me is something else. Maybe I shouldn't have used what do you call it? A paper towel to soak up all the water. I should just air dry it instead, because I can see all the little tiny stuff from the paper towel. But yeah, I'm so glad to have a dedicated tea steeper thing, although it does get really hot, but that's just the nature of this kind of style. And it also has like a spout right here. But I think my friend, he's just not gonna make more of these. Of course, I didn't ask the reason. Everyone has their own reasons. But on Instagram, he's Kurt Otis. That's his Instagram handle and his name. So yeah, I think we met in a painting class, as far as I know, because I never took ceramics, because I did ceramics as a kid and I was like so over it. because everything I made, it just wasn't up to my standards, and I didn't know how to make it better because it was just like an activity you do. Because in my elementary school or / K-8, we had this program called Visiting Artists. So an artist would come in and teach us how to do ceramics, draw, whatever, honestly, whatever it may be. And yeah, pottery, ceramics was just not what I like to do. Although everyone around me seems to really like it, which is funny. Yeah. Crows included. And then my friend, Anna, she also really likes to do pottery. And then my cousin also likes to do pottery. So, you know, just not me. It's not my thing. I think textiles is more my thing. But yeah. Got his little logo. Oh, it's too dark. Can't even see it. I wonder if you can see that in the lid. And it says 21 on the lid and on the bottom. And presumably because this was made in 2021. So yeah. And the top has like a little bit of gold. Or bronze coloring on it. But this is unglazed for the most part. So yeah, note to self, don't use a paper towel on unglazed stuff, especially when it's black. And now it's like, it looks dusty, even though I just got it like yesterday, or I got both packages yesterday. Yeah, and it is smaller than I thought because in pictures can be deceiving, but it can brew up. I mean, it lets the tea leaves expand really well, so I mean, what's there to dislike? But also because I haven't used something like this in so long, basically since middle school, or at least unglazed stuff since middle school, basically. That A, I forgot how to take care of it, and B, and I had to ask him, and B, that, what was I gonna say? I already lost my train of thought. Oh, right. So, it's been so long that I don't remember exactly how to manage the temperature for brewing in this. Well, first of all, I know that you have to put hot water in empty with no tea leaves to warm up the clay pot or whatever you're using, and then you put your tea leaves in, or you pour out that hot water, put your tea leaves in, do a quick rinse with hot water again, and then strain it like this. You just strain it. Well, you're supposed to hold it like this so you don't burn yourself, and just strain it like that. That's how you take it out, or take the water out. And then, but then if you have one without a spout, you like crack it open like this, and then pour it out. If you don't have a spout on your cup thing, or your little steeper thing, and then after you put your tea leaves in and do a quick rinse, then you're ready to brew. And yeah, so I overbrewed it the first time. It was like yellow when the color is supposed to be green. So that tells me I overbrewed it, and when I tasted it, it was really bitter. So that means that also means the temperature was too high. So yeah. Because I put the lid on and then I waited a full minute, and I think that's too long because you have the lid on. So yeah, definitely. And because it holds temperature really well, you don't actually have to leave the hot water in for too long. Just sometimes a few seconds is enough. It depends, of course, on the tea. And I'm using this for green tea because I have 3 types of green tea. I'm just gonna use all 3, even though I think that's technically blasphemy in the tea world. But I just gotta do it because why the fuck not? And if I don't like it, or if I don't like the patina, I can always just scrub it a little bit or something to clean it out. And then just use it for only one type of tea. Because as far as I know, you're technically only supposed to use one type of tea per unglazed clay pot, because the clay either absorbs the astringentness of the tea, or it can add minerals into it. It depends on the clay composition, but I don't really know with this because it's black and not brown like what I'm used to for unglazed teaware. But yeah, it's definitely supposed to make your tea taste better over time. So that's why you don't want to scrub it. But I just dried it with a towel, and now it looks dusty. So yeah, I learned my lesson. Don't use a paper towel on unglazed stuff because it's really rough. Okay. And as far as I know, this is a hand thrown using a wheel. I don't know what's called. I'm not a pottery person, so I don't know what it's called. I just like to use pottery. So, and if you saw my Instagram already, I did use it once today, just to like test it and see like what's up with it, and like to see if I can remember how to use it, you know, that kind of thing. Yeah. Surprisingly, I do remember how to use this, but my knowledge is only like in the Chinese tea realm, so if there's something else, I don't know, because this thing derives from the Japanese tea realm, but they're really close together in terms of like tea history or whatever. But Japan is, you know, the land of perfectionism. So there could be like something else I don't know about that. And I mean, it's pretty, like, Japanese teaware sometimes is pretty inventive compared to the Chinese tea realm, but I don't know, there's so much trade in between both countries for so long that it's kind of like the tea knowledge is the same in terms of teaware, because there's like the one-handed spout thing on the side, so that's consistent with Chinese teaware as well. But Chinese tea where it's more about the white stuff or the clay stuff or the brown clay looking reddish tone. Kind of terracotta looking, but I mean, but I can only get the mass-produced stuff. Or at least my parents could like get the mass-produced stuff in China and then like ship it here. And a lot of the tea I have still, 2 of the teas I have, Dragonwell and jasmine green tea is from China from like a long ass time ago, but they still taste great, so there's no reason to throw it out. So yeah, although technically you're supposed to use the tea as soon as possible for green teas, just so that the flavor doesn't disappear over time, because it can. But if you store it properly, it should last a long time. So I'm like, what's the real truth? Because it tastes the same as when I got it, or it tastes almost the same as when I got it. The Dragonwell, I think, is more sensitive to anything, I guess. But and the jasmine green tea I have is like the one that's rolled up, so that one's really good. I'm really jasmine-y, so yeah. I only have one Japanese green tea, and it's kind of sketchy because the leaves are so broken, and I don't know why. And it's also from David's Tea, so I don't know how good it is, because I have a feeling that it wasn't worth the money. So yeah, I don't know, still undecided. And I think after this podcast I'm just gonna take this off because it's just not holding up well. Or maybe I'll just be too lazy and just not take it off. But this will be my last time adjusting it in this episode. So 4 whips, I guess, 2 acquisitions. Yeah, I think I'll just end this episode here. It was a lot of talking, it was a lot of information, especially when it comes to tea, when it comes to kimonos. So this is, I guess, it's Japanese tea, not Japanese themed. But yeah, Japanese tea, the kimono, the teapot. And on Instagram I use the Japanese tea that I have, which is called Gyokuro Yamashiro. I think that's the name. I could be wrong. Yeah. Is that it? I always feel like I'm missing something at the end of these episodes. And if you haven't taken a drink of anything, take one with me right now. It could be a beer, it could be wine, it could be tea, it could be coffee. And it's already cold. So, hope you had a fun time spending time with me here and all this rustling. Should I show you something else? I don't know if this is long enough. I don't remember how to do it, but I copied off of like a makeup basically. Is this how you do it? I always forget. No, this is not how you do it. Okay. Maybe I'll show it next time. Maybe not, because I don't want to wear this again. So, because the way I put it on, it's just, it keeps looking worse and worse throughout this podcast. Like, okay. Let you guys go. I clean up or whatever. Hope you guys had a fun time with me today, even though I keep adjusting everything. And I'll see you guys next week. Bye.